Was it hard for you to explain to your wife what, killing and seeing people get killed? Did she ever ask about that? And if so, did you find it difficult to have those conversations?
No, we never really talked about that much. I mean, I talked about like a lot of the cool guy stuff that we've done and like training and stuff like that, but she never really asked me about the killing stuff. I think they know now because they've seen all the podcasts that I've been on. I think a lot of my family knows now more because they've heard these situations that I've been in talked about on podcasts. And I may have told some of this to family, but not a whole lot. I mean, it's like to me, if they ask me, I'll tell. And I'm happy. I'm an open book. I'll share this with anybody, but it's weird. You don't want to it's like you're forcing it on people. It feels kind of weird. So I have told some people, but I think they mainly heard from podcasts.
Well, and that's a great segue because one of the things that I know has caused problems is there seems to be this double standards, probably not the right word, but some former operators feel that they're pressured to not say anything, like don't talk about what you've done, stay silent. And that causes them a lot of problems. Like one of my good buddies was very suicidal and he felt guilty about speaking about anything he'd done because he was a SEAL Team 6 guy, and they're like, keep your mouth shut. Don't talk to anyone publicly. And then now he does, and his life's much better, and he sought help elsewhere as well. Do you think guys should be encouraged that it's okay to share your story, that people are interested, you don't have to sit alone and keep your memories to yourself?
That's actually a great point that you make because I've always kind of spoken about it when asked, or like I'm happy to talk about it. And I do think that's part of the reason maybe I've been able to relieve some of this stuff. But yeah, I think, dude, these stories need to be told. This is history. This is how history occurs nowadays on YouTube, not necessarily in books, right? So like stories like the combat story and like Team House and like your channel and other channels out there, this is our history. It needs to be told in a way that doesn't reveal techniques, tactics, and procedures. But any of us can talk without doing that. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff that the military calls TTPs that aren't even really TTPs, but there is pressure out there. Like, I mean, I was threatened for my security clearance to be taken away. Luckily, they didn't take it away because I didn't break any, violations of any OPSEC. But that there is that threat. But I think it's healthy for guys to talk about it.
So did you do a podcast and they contacted you and said, we're going to pull your security clearance over this?
No, I did like 4 podcasts before I even heard anything, and spanned out over like 3 years. And then all of a sudden, I got a call from an investigator. I didn't get called by anybody in the military. They didn't tell me nothing about it, which they were supposed to technically. But I got a call from this guy, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to interview you." I thought it was just like the normal renewal for my security clearance, and I sat down and talked to him the whole conversation. And at the very end, he's like, what do you know about podcasts? And I was like, that's a weird, I've never heard that question before. And I was like, well, I've done a few of them. Is that what you're asking about? And he was like, yeah, can you tell me about them? I was like, I'll send you a link to all of them. You can watch them if you want and let me know if you think I violated anything. And so that's what I ended up doing. I sent the guy all of the videos. He watched them. That's his job, to investigate and go through all my NDAs and make sure I didn't violate anything. And he goes through there and he was like, yeah, you're good to go. Well, he didn't tell me that, but his official report was that I didn't break anything. So, and I never heard anything from anybody else since. So he told me, he's like, if your security clearance is revoked, you'll know about it within about a month. And it's been coming up on a year now. So luckily.
I I have a story for you that I'll tell you when we're done filming that will blow your mind related to something like that. But I can't say it while we're recording, but you'll understand why once I tell you.
Yeah, yeah.
Um I just have a couple questions to close this out. This has been absolutely incredible across the board. And the first question I'm going to go with SEAL Team 6 Delta, you get to have the opportunity as a former special mission unit member to have work with both. You've seen both. Compare and contrast kind of the differences in culture, skills, and then if you had to pick one for a hostage rescue or a gunfight, which unit would you go with?
That's a good question. Yeah, I've worked with both of the guys. I've probably